Reverse dieting is one of the best things you can do to set yourself up for weight loss success. Especially if you have a long history of yo-yo dieting, it may be the only way to put your metabolism back in a good enough place to be able to see the results you're after, at least without gaining a lot more weight than you'd like. However, what do you do if you're already overweight? Or what if you're obese? What if, even worse, you have this long history of dieting, you're stuck, but you can't afford to gain more weight and want to lose now? What should you do? Well, that's what I want to talk about today. Hey, this is Colin DeWaay. If you want to master your metabolism and create forever results, start now by subscribing and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. So this question came up during my last live Q&A, and I thought it was such a good question that it deserved its own video. And the fact is, if you're already very overweight or even obese, you do have to be careful about adding extra fat, as you don't want to create more health complications. This is even more true if you already have some of these complications, such as type 2 diabetes, because in that case, it could literally be life-threatening. You need to be careful here. Now, for the record, I'm not qualified to treat or diagnose any type of type 2 diabetes or anything like that, and if you have this, you should seek out a specialist. I'm just saying, there are certainly times where it may not make sense to reverse diet. That being said, just because you don't want to gain weight now, certainly doesn't automatically mean you shouldn't reverse. To be perfectly honest, that's almost everybody who approaches me about reverse dieting. Even if they're not really overweight, they want to lose weight first. The thought of reverse dieting and potentially gaining some weight now stops them from doing what's going to be best in the long run. So you don't want to let the fear of weight gain stop you from doing what's in your best interest, but the topic of this video is if you're already overweight and it might be unhealthy to increase weight, so that's a topic for a different video. So anyway, here's the thing. If you're already overweight, feel like your metabolism is tanked from a long history of dieting, but concerned about gaining weight from your current position, you don't necessarily have to go into a reverse diet, and you can push for weight loss now, but you're going to have to know what that means and what you're going to have to do. And then if you absolutely cannot get things going, then you need to accept the reality that it's time to reverse diet. So the biggest thing is, if you're stuck, you're concerned about having a long history of dieting, your metabolism being tanked, but you don't want to gain weight and you need to make that push, then you need to have a real honest assessment of how diligent you're really being to the plan. Because the truth is, a lot of people, I would even argue most people, are taking in more, if not a lot more calories than they think they are. And this is why you're stuck. This is where you need to commit to really dial things in, because humans are just not good at accurately accounting for the amount of calories they eat. Take this study that showed obese people who claimed they couldn't lose weight eating 1,200 calories per day. What they found was, on average, they were consuming 1,053 calories more than reported. And not only that, but they were over-reporting calorie expenditure by about 250 calories. So if you factor those two things together, on average, their net calories was 1,300 more per day than they thought it was. And if you times that by 7 days a week, now you're talking over 9,000 additional calories that were unaccounted for. So you can see how clearly that would make it hard to lose weight. So that's your first step. Take a week or two and just dial things in as much as possible. I'm talking literally be perfect. And you know me, I am not about perfection. I think it's a bad mindset to have. Most of the time when people have this perfectionist mindset, it turns into an all or nothing approach and they can't sustain it. And this is a big cause of the yo-yo dieting effect. However, in this instance, it's not necessarily something you're going to do for a long time, but you certainly should do it in the short term to get an accurate representation of what things look like. Not only to see if you really can lose weight or not, but to help teach you what your diet actually looks like. What I recommend is the day before, plan everything into your tracker ahead of time. This is what I want to eat for each meal. Once you take a look at things, see what the numbers look like, whatever's off, you start making some adjustments until it ends up lining up perfectly. That way, not only are you set up for success the next day and you're not just trying to wing it, it's also one less thing you have to worry about the following day. And it's going to help teach you a lot about food, as you've noticed how you need to make some adjustments up or down on different things to be able to get your numbers to line up. Then on top of that, we need to make sure what we're actually consuming is accurate. So no eyeballing portion sizes, no more extra bites and licks and nibbles and little things here and there that you don't account for. Account for absolutely everything and be spot on. And you may be shocked at how much more calories you consume than you think. This is something I'll occasionally do with a client who's been stuck doing something that we think should be working for them, but just isn't. And I'm telling you, probably over 90% of the time when they dial it in for just 1 week, all of a sudden, boom, they can start seeing results again. And they're like, holy crap, I can't believe how much more I was eating than I thought. All that little stuff can really make a big difference and add up quickly. So even if it's not something that we're gonna do forever, it's enough to give you a better idea of what things should look like. Plus, it also can help because if you do start seeing results now, it can build some more trust in the process. It can help build some more extra motivation. We can never rely on motivation, but it sure is nice to have. And it can just really help with buy-in for the process and get you excited about what you're trying to do. Also, take a look at your activity. What I've found pretty frequently this past year or so, with all the lockdowns and everything else that's happened with all the madness that's out there, people are just a lot less active in their normal daily lives now. So many people are stuck at home all the time, not going into the office, not moving around, just sitting in front of computers, never going anywhere and doing anything. We're just sitting so much right now, and we're burning way less calories because of it. So take a look at your activity levels, not just exercise, but also your daily life. And if you find you're not moving around more, okay, yeah, you can pick up your exercise too, but it's also a really good idea to just start going for more frequent walks, as it's really helpful to keep things moving and get some extra calorie expenditure without putting a lot of demand on the body, and it's easy to recover from. The main drawback of regular walking is the extra time commitment. That's where you have to decide what's most important to you. So now once you have your nutrition in check, you have your activity levels in a good place, and if you're making this big push, you can't realistically make any more adjustments. Your calories are already low, activity is already really high, and you're still stuck. Well, now you know, despite the fact that you don't want to gain and you want to lose now, it's just not in the cards, and you have to accept reality for what it is and go into the reverse diet so that you can put yourself back in a place where you can get the results you're after. Because at this point, the only other option is to keep crushing yourself so hard to get no results and stay stuck. And that's just not something you're likely to do. It'd be a miserable life to live. So what typically happens at that point is, well, I can't see results. What's the point? Go off the deep end, end up gaining weight really quickly, probably quadruple as fast as if you were gonna do a reverse diet without as much benefit to your metabolism, because you're probably not gonna do it very long because you're gonna freak out about the weight you gain, go back into a diet, body doesn't respond because your metabolism hasn't corrected yet. And this cycle just continues and you just get bigger and bigger. So please don't fall into that. And even if you can technically get results, if you were to stick to the plan right on 100%, if you can't realistically keep doing what you need to do to get results, if mentally you're fried, if your hormones are all out of whack from dieting, which is very common, and you just find that no matter what you try to do, you cannot realistically stick to the plan, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you, but it does mean stop trying to force it. And whatever you do, don't lower your calories if you can't stick to higher calories. Right? That's not going to help anything. It's only going to make things worse. Don't stay stubborn and break that pattern. Because realistically, the hard part isn't the action that you have to put in. It's typically getting over not wanting to do the things you need to do to get those results. Now remember, just because you go into a reverse diet doesn't automatically mean you're gonna gain a bunch of weight. And if done right, you may really be able to minimize things, if not even avoid it altogether. So to find out how to avoid weight gain as much as possible during a reverse diet, make sure you check out this top video next, and I'll walk you through just how to do that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.